Hi guys, very excited as always about today's session. Very excited about today's session as I believe a lot of people know by now that we have different energy centers in the body, but then very often I come across a lot of people who are so grounded and anchored in the 3D world, in their belief systems, in what they have to do, they are completely unaware that we might be vibrational beings, that there might be something that connects us to something greater than us, that there might be something that connects all of us. And when I started my journey, my coaching journey and my healing journey, I actually started with something called Reiki that many people know. And Reiki is an energy flow where the practitioner allows himself to be the channel for a certain energy to come through and just see where a body of his client is out of balance. Now, I always thought that was an incredibly insightful tool for us to actually tune into the client that we're talking to, somebody that is opposite us, because we instantly surpass the brain and their analytical mind and just see where their system might be out of whack. So they might be very open in their spiritual senses. They might be very open in their communication, but then you might feel the heart energy might be very, very blocked. So the energy centers, just for you to understand, and for those where this concept might be very new, the energy centers in ancient history are often portrayed as something, as 7 fan-like cycles or channels along our bodies. Now, if I share my screen with you, and I show you this is how most people perceive the chakras that are a bit more open, a bit more sensitive, that are maybe clairvoyant. And along those 7 gates across your body, there is certain energetic openings that allow us to communicate from the subtle body, not the physical body, but the energetic body. Now, I believe, in my experience, that very often we communicate from those chakras, from those energy levels, to the energy channels of the opposite person. I believe these are the openings where we get our intuition, where we get our senses, when suddenly we think, I need to check in with this friend. I haven't heard from him or from her in a long time, and something doesn't feel quite right. I also believe there's far more chakras than just those 7s. There's 2 more we will address today. One is up here, which I call the higher heart, that is directly connected to us judging ourselves and judging others, and keeping us in a place of comparison that's very often very detrimental to our well-being. And I've also chosen this little picture here, this gram, because the chakras, of course, are always portrayed as a channel that opens up to the front, but they really open up to both sides. Really, they are, in my experience, an all-around field that addresses, that communicates in all areas, into all directions, not just a channel that goes to the front and a channel that goes to the back. So as we allow ourselves to heal and balance each chakra by itself, the body very often starts releasing stress. It starts releasing an anxiety. It starts having a sense of deeper peace. Very often I've seen even physical issues suddenly just drop away. I've worked with people who usually only came to me for these chakra healings or for Reiki healings, and they would come back every 3 weeks, and it was such a good way to tune in and see where the body was out of balance, where their problems really were lying, where their fears were, and where they were holding back. And that is a great way to rebalance, to get the information, and to find out why you're constantly blocking in the same areas of your life. Now, in coaching, we can do this via insights. We can do this with kinesiology. We can do this by asking the right questions and going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. Now, when somebody releases an old fear, releases an old pattern, releases things that are holding on to, the energetic body always releases it with it. Now, if we release it in the energetic body first, very often we start behaving differently. That's why I say this is one of the most powerful things to do, because we can address it from both sides. However, if we start releasing things on the energetic level, we now will have to change our behavior in order to integrate it completely in our three-dimensional life, as I like to call it. So we might now clear the hurts, or the old hurts that might be stored in our heart chakra, in our heart area, or the insecurities that might be in our root chakra. We release that, we are back in the balance, and which will allow us to go forward much easier, which allow us to now feel safe and feel secure in addressing or taking the next action. It might heal the old hurt and the old unforgiveness that we still have in our heart. However, in my experience, we then have to step out and integrate and start almost rehearsing, practicing the new behavior now that we're in a much more balanced and peaceful alignment. If we don't do that and we go back into our same old patterns over and over and over again, the chakras will then, the energetic system will then go back into into being blocked, into spinning slower, into not communicating on the right level. And so the fears will start reflecting in that area again. So once we start balancing the chakras and we feel a new ease, we feel a new peace, we feel a new connection, we feel a new groundedness, we feel a new safety, we have released our fears, we want to start integrating by adapting new behaviors. And this is where all the other trances we already have done are so powerful, because they allow us to now change our thinking process or our thought process. So this is a brilliant addition to what we usually do. I always do a little bit subtle chakra cleanse in all my trances. Sometimes you will notice that, sometimes you won't, because I will always balance either through colors, through the suggestions we're giving in. So each trance will always be like a little remote healing session. Today we're going to be very, very open on the chakra system and just address that. Just for you to know the different chakras and the 6, 7, 8 chakras that we go through today, and what they mean and what they stand for, I just wanted to go through them before. And I usually go from the chakras, I start from the chakra at the end of our spine, at the end of our tailbone. This is the root chakra, and that stands for the trust in the self and the trust in the process of life overall. This is where, if that is in balance, we feel safe, we feel secure. But if that is blocked, if that is, I often perceive it with clients as littered. It's literally full of garbage. It's fears of not having enough. It's fear of not being enough. It's fear of not delivering the right things. It's fear of money not showing up at the right time, and all these different things. And the more we fear, the more we carry that fear, the more, of course, we will start acting from that place of lack. Balancing this will give us a sense of safety, a sense of inner peace, and a sense of trust in ourselves. If we move up and just below the navel, just above your pubic bone, is where we have the sacral or the sexual chakra. And this is where a lot of the creative energy is at home for us, where our life force arises. The joy of life is what I feel there. I often feel it almost like a swirl, or like a flame of joie de vivre, of joy of life, Lebensfreude coming up into your body. This is also connected to our throat chakra, because it's a very strong channel for our communication and for the creativity. We want to have this chakra, as all chakras, in perfect balance, to go forward and to take new actions in our life. If we then move up into the solar plexus, I think everybody knows where that is, just above your navel. I often see that literally like a little golden sun, and it's a very powerful chakra. And it helps us to let go of control issues, controlling ourselves, controlling others. It also helps us to trust in the process of life and to let go of the past that doesn't support us anymore. So very often the past still has a very strong grip on us, and releasing the energy that is in there allows us to not force ourselves onto others and force our ideas out, but be in the trust and be in letting go of the grip and the control we have of life, and coming from that place of true congruency. Then, of course, we have the heart chakra. In the heart chakra, we have our sense of gratitude. There's mainly self-love. That is what that chakra really is all about. It's the love of self, compassion for yourself, but also the compassion for others. But the compassion for others is slightly higher. In here, we really want to release the old scars, the old hurt, very often that we have from past relationships, very often that we have from our upbringing and from our families. Very often it feels like the heart is tied up in chains and ropes, and we don't allow ourselves to love freely because we're so scared of getting hurt yet again. So if we free that up, we get a true sense of self again, and we can move forward with an open heart. I often get a real sense of gratitude in there as well. And if we want to open our heart chakra, I always find making gratitude lists, pointing out around us what we're really grateful for, is a very, very powerful exercise to step into that heart-centered energy. Now, if we move up, I'm pointing towards my body, and you can't even see my body. I'm pointing up towards my higher heart chakra, which is just on the top of my chest. This is more about learning to not judge ourselves and learning not to judge others. If we start comparing ourselves to others, we always start a war, as Rumi says. We always either put someone else on a pedestal, therefore we have to feel small and insignificant, or we put ourselves on a pedestal because we come out better in that comparison, and that is not a good energy either, because everything is connected and we don't want to compete. We want to notice the beauty that is in others, and we also want to be able to notice what is not beneficial for us, what is not good for us. But maybe just go, that's interesting, but I'm completely anchored in myself. I have compassion for that person's journey. I have no idea what they've gone through. I have no idea what their life journey is. But I understand that they must have some conditioning to do their journey, so I'm just going to notice it. And it might be not good for me to interact, so I'm just going to pull out, but I'm not going to judge it. And in the same way, we start addressing ourselves by, I understand that sometimes my life is hard, and I understand that sometimes it's easy, but I'm not going to judge it. I'm just going to sit in this place, be in that present, be in that, the power of now, as Eckhart Tolle says so beautifully. Just be present without the judgment on it. And that's what the higher heart stands for me. Then we move up to the throat chakra, and the throat chakra is, of course, all about communication. It's about clearly communicating our values, our aims, our desires, our dreams, but also our boundaries. As I said before, it is clearly connected to the sexual or the sacral chakra, and therefore it is very much connected to our intuition and to our creativity. It allows us to communicate freely when we need and want to communicate, but we don't have to communicate. That is very, very important, because a lot of us think, well, now that it is open, I have to tell everybody how I feel and I just need to bulldoze over everybody. That is not the point. It is about being able to speak freely when we want to communicate our heart's desires and what is going on, and if we want to share with the person opposite us. But if we don't want to do that, that we have the power to just hold back and say, that's just for me, or that's just for one or two very special people. So being in that power of choice is what we aim for, rather than not being able to speak freely or having to communicate everything because we just need to or want to be loved. We want to have a reaction. We then move up into the third eye. The third eye stands for, of course, for our channels, our intuition, our clairvoyancy. It is also linked to our eye, to our physical eyes, as every chakra is linked to a couple of organs and areas in the body. And having that open, we're going to be very, very gentle with that. Because if we open that too fast, You know, some people are very highly clairvoyant and they don't know it. They are very sensitive and they don't know often how to deal with suddenly the feelings they get, the things they hear that are entering on the energetic field. Now, if we open up the third eye, we become more intuitive, we become more sensitive in a way that we know what's going on around us. But be aware that you have a switch, very much like a light switch or the on and off button on your TV or your radio. If you feel you're too sensitive, set the intention. Tell your body, for now, I'm honoring this channel. I'm honoring that I'm sensitive. I'm honoring that I can feel my surroundings. But right now, it's just a bit too much. Please tone it down. You have the control over your body to do that. Therefore, you don't do what most people do. If it gets too much, they just shut down the channel completely. They shut down the sensitivity, but they're shutting down one of their greatest gifts and our greatest gifts of communication. Once you do this work over and over again, you will feel that you can sense somebody else around you. I can sense my clients without having to absorb them. It's a beautiful space to be in. I use another chakra up here, which is the ear chakras that we don't see on the chart I've shown you before. And the ear chakras stand, of course, for clear hearing, but all the things that we heard about ourselves that we should and shouldn't do, that we can't do, all the things we tell ourselves mainly, and keep telling ourselves, that script that we keep running, what we can't and can do. And once we release that, for me, they really radiate like the headlights of a sports car. And from there on, we can now choose thoughts, actions, and words that are aligned with our true selves, that are aligned with our dreams, desires, and our true purpose. And then, of course, we come up to the crown chakra, which is our connection to true self, our connection to the higher self. For some people, it's the connection to divine self, your divine spark. I believe the divine, or as some people call it, God, is all that is. It's all of us. It's not some bearded guy that sits somewhere. That's my experience. I'm not coming from a religious background. For me, God is an energy that is within every single thing. My table, me, you. And being tuned into this is as important as being grounded and being on the 3D level, because we are 3D people. We have our feet on the ground and we want to operate from both sides. So I want to invite you to just relax. Enjoy this journey as we relax your body and we start clearing and cleansing and rebalancing those chakras, and just see what happens in your body. After that, I'm going to share my screen again. After that, we will go into a suggestion. I'm not going to do that like I usually do in these trances that are power aware and do real reconditioning or reprogramming, but these are the suggestions I will give you for each chakra. And so I probably will repeat them in the end while you relax, and you can absorb it on all levels of your body. And it is really just to allow your body to be in perfect balance now and to be grounded and connected at all times. So as I say, so we're connected to our true self, but we're really with both feet on the ground. We have a 3D body, so we need to know what to do with it. That you're safe in following your path and always connected to your creative sources. That you trust that life unfolds perfectly for you, and you take inspired action when needed. This is when we go forth and we take actions we need to do. That you're full of love and compassion for yourself and others, and there's no need for judgment anymore. It is clear what is good or not beneficial for you, because a lot of people fear, when I let go of judgment, then I let go of all contrast and I don't know what's not good anymore. Of course you won't. You will always know what's good and not good, even more so because you trust your senses. You're in tune with yourself, but you don't have to judge others or yourself for making the choices that you do. And you communicate your values and boundaries clearly. You trust your intuition and are able to tell what is true inspiration and what might be fear-based, what might be your ego talking to you. And you only choose words, thoughts, and actions that align with your true self, your purpose, and your dreams, as you are firmly connected to your higher self. And I always like ending with the words "I am," as that is a very powerful phrase connecting us to the true being and true sense. So Let me get back to here. I will ask you now, I'm going to stop this recording here.